In this video series, Grant will show you the 4 main things you need to know about survival, which is finding water, building a shelter, starting a fire, and finding food. Starting with the most important, which is finding water or a form of hydration. Now over to Grant to show you how to get started.
Today we're just going to search for water and see what we can get. So I know there's no water on this island, so we're just going to forage around, maybe make a solar still and try and get some water. Look for coconut or something like that. So I found a little sack as soon as I pulled up, and now we're going to go foraging, looking for some bottles and stuff like that so we can collect our water. So let's go. Okay, as you can see, Indonesia, it's really filthy here. There's so much plastic and rubbish everywhere. So what I'm going to do is just cruise around up and down the beach here and see what I can find. See if I can find some bottles. Here's one right here. They're just everywhere. So we'll collect enough bottles, make a couple of solar stills and see how we go. Alright, let's get into it. Let's go foraging. Alright, so there's plenty of bamboo here. Later on I'll come and get that bamboo because that'll come in handy for our episode on how to build a shelter. And we'll need some firewood for later on, so there's always plenty of bamboo in Indonesia. It's tropical islands, there's coconuts, there's bananas, there's bamboo. Look at that bit, that's a perfect bit there. And all this rope, just check out this rope. See, I'll be able to cut that rope up. Looks like a big net or something off the boat. I'll be able to cut that up and use that for sure. Alright, so we'll just keep foraging along here and see what we can find. This rope, this is going to come in really handy. Look at that, big ball of rope. And I'll use that to lash together my shelter. Okay. Mate, there's just so many bottles and cups and shit like that around. It's not hard to find something. Thongs, look, thongs, 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 thongs. If you want a pair of shoes in Indonesia, you don't have to go too far. There's just millions of them everywhere. Ooh, some good nuts up in there. Here's a nice bit of bamboo, might come in handy for a spear. Check this out. Oh yes. So I can straighten that. See if a good push stick for me boat. I'll make a spear out of it. Bloody beauty. I love bamboo. It's one of the most versatile plants on the planet. Coconut, bamboo. You can do anything with it. You can survive off coconut, bamboo, bananas, papaya. These tropical islands in Indonesia are just absolutely full of tropical fruits and that. It's pretty hard to starve here. You can more or less easy, if you know what you're looking for, it's pretty easy to survive. Alright, so this is what we got. We got the big gallon. Got some plastic bottles. Got a seat, a bit of foam. And all I've got is my trusty old knife. And yeah, we'll cut some of these bottles up and I'll show you how to make a solar still. Turn salt water into fresh water. We've got my trusty knife, it's a bloody beauty. There's a bit of rope on this, I don't know why. Alright, so what we're going to do is cut the bottom off this first. Now we've got the bottom cut off. We can always use that as a collection bowl for some water if it rains tonight. So what we're going to do with this, we're just going to turn the inside in a couple of inches, bend it over, right, now that's it. As you can see, I've just turned that inside of the bottle over. And we've got a problem here because I've got to seal this off. So I've got to find a bit of plastic, a bit of string. I'll be back in a minute. We'll seal this off. So what we more or less do is we dig a hole and we maybe put some leaves or fill it full of as much salt water as we can. We dig this bottle in a bit and the condensation of all the salt and the salt water will just run down into the sides and collect in that bit that we turned up there. And you'd be surprised how much water you get. You put this out in the full sun, you're going to get heaps of condensation. So alright, so I'll find something to seal the top off this, and yeah, we'll get into it. Okay, so I found a bit of a plastic bag. Just cut a bit of plastic off. This rope's everywhere in Indonesia. It's called tali rapia. It's like just made from plastic, recycled plastic, so it's a good idea. And they use it for everything. Alright, so all we're going to do is tie this off. And that is ready to go. Alright, so let's go and find some full sun, a bit of sand, and we'll get this solar still going. So what we're doing is we're digging a hole. Just big enough to fit that bottle over. If we dig down deep enough here, this close to the water, we'll actually get seawater. And as you can see, there's seawater coming into this now. So what we want to do is dig down so this fills up, naturally fills up, so it'll always stay wet, full of seawater. As you can see now, we're getting quite a puddle of water in there. All we got to do is get this, put it over the top, and just seal it in around the edges. And we'll just let that puddle of water in there and the condensation from the salt water cause condensation. It'll run down and catch in that lip that we turned up. So we've got to leave this, it takes a while. We'll leave it for a couple of hours and we'll come back and have a look at it. Okay, so what we're going to do, because a lot of the time you won't be lucky enough to find a big one like that, but there's plenty of these here and there's plenty of small bottles. So what you do is the same thing. You cut the top off the bottle, you bend the lip over, inside, still oil in that, look at that. Still some cooking oil. And anyway, that won't hurt. The cooking oil, there's calories, and in a survival situation, drink it. Any sort of calories you can get into you will help you. Okay, so we've got 3 of them set up. We've got 2 little ones and we've got the big one. You can see the hole in there is absolutely full of water. So that should get a lot of condensation in that. So we'll come back and we'll check that out, I don't know, a couple of hours, see how they go. Okay, so I've been in the back in here, found a bit of bamboo and I chopped a few pieces to make my shelter with. And I'll just show you how you can get water out of bamboo. Now the bottom couple of rungs, that's all in separate compartments, are always full of water. And you watch this. You see that? Look at that. It's just full of water. Anyway, it's always a good source of hydration. Bamboo. It's always full of water. And wherever there is bamboo, you know, if you dig down, there's plenty of water, because what it likes to do, it grows really fast, and it grows like up to 1 metre a day. So if you dig down, you'll definitely find water. So I've dug a bit of a hole and I've got a bottle of dirty water, and I'll show you how to filter that water out and get clean drinking water. Okay, so while I was down there cutting that bamboo, I dug a hole and got some really shitty dirty water. So I'll show you how to filter that so you can drink it. You get a bottle and you cut the top off, and oops, I've got a bit here. You get a little bit of, cut a bit of your shirt or something, if you have to. Get a bit of cloth, put it down in the bottom, and then you get some sand. put a couple of inches of sand in it at the bottom. And then what I've got out of the fire from last night, I've got some charcoal. Now I've smashed this on a rock so it's like a powder. There's no use using it if it's coarse charcoal. So you pound that right down. So it's really, you pour the charcoal on top. So you get yourself a good layer of charcoal. There's a couple of inches of charcoal there. Pour the rest of your sand on top. And you can repeat this a couple of times, put charcoal, sand, charcoal, sand. The more you do, the better. So in the end, it looks like that. You've got your sand, you've got charcoal, and you've got more sand. And what that'll do, now you've got your cloth in the bottom. So we've got our dirty water here. Now you're going to have to run a couple of lots through it, otherwise you're going to get black charcoal water. So you run a couple of lots of dirty water through it. And more or less all you do is fill it up. Keep topping it up. And if you have to, you just run it through 2 or 3 times, you know. As you can see now, it's starting to clear up a bit. Okay, so we've come back. Still a little bit cloudy. It's all run through just about. But it's definitely a lot more clear. If you run that through a couple more times, that'll be drinking water. Tastes a bit gritty, but it's fresh water. And it's definitely a lot clearer than what it was in the beginning. So I'll probably run that one through one more time. And it should be just perfectly clear. You can see this second time running it through. Actually, I kept pouring it in and pouring it in and pouring it in through and cleaning it through. So it takes a while and you've got to persevere, but you can filterise your water from filthy dirty water into good drinking water. You can just see, the more I put it through, the clearer it is. Look at that. That's pretty well clear now. Alright, so that's how you do it. And check out this, found a coconut. That will come in handy. Sounds like it's got a bit of juice in it. We'll cut it open. As you can see, it's been about an hour. And I'm not sure whether you can see it, but there's already beads of water condensating in this, and it's running down around and catching in that groove. So we'll leave it another couple of hours and we'll just see how much water it collects. It's already doing out that. You see the condensation in it? It's been here for about 6 hours. Forgot my coconut, still sitting here. See what the little one did. Alright, I'll just pull the top off this. Pull the little bottle out. Oh yeah, there's a bit of water around the rim. So we'll see how that is, see if it's fresh water. Whoops. Okay, that is fresh as. That's good, you can drink that all day. No worries. So it shows it does work. Even with the little one, I got a couple of good mouthfuls. You just put a small bottle of salt water inside a big bottle, seal it down on the ground and leave it in the sun and you'll get water. And let's see this one. Oh, there is absolutely heaps. I don't know whether you can see it. Just a lot. Get over in the sun. There is absolutely heaps of water around that rim. So I'll turn it upside down and we'll see what we got. Look at that. Can you see that? There's a good 2 or 3 inches of water in that. So I'm going to check it out and see if it's drinkable. Okay. So I'll just pinch a little hole in it. That's beautiful. That is pure fresh water. That's about 6 hours. Dig a hole right next to the ocean. until it fills with a groundwater, which is salty water, and it just does its own thing, mate. If you set up about 5 or 6 of these bigger ones, yeah, you'd easily get a couple of litres of water a day, enough to survive until you found something decent like a good coconut tree. And I'd be rather drinking coconut right now, I tell you what. I'll leave that solar still there, and we'll set it back up, and we'll see how it goes the rest of the afternoon, because I'm going to need more water tonight. And yeah, that's a great experiment, and it's just something, you know, if you're out camping and that and you got a few bottles lying around, just practice this sort of shit. If you practice it, if you ever come into a situation where you're lost or something like that, especially on one of these islands where there's plenty of plastic and stuff like that, you can use this method to find yourself some hydration. All right, so let's get back to the boat and have a little rest, eh? Survive on it for sure. So anyway, I found that old coconut. I'm just about to crack it open. I hope you liked the video. If you did, you know the drill. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe and all that crap. And yeah, I hope to see you on the next one. The next one's going to be about how to build a shelter. So most of the time I sleep in my boat. I've got an air mattress, so I just sleep in my boat. But I'm going to be here for a few days. So the first one was water. The next order of survival is always water, shelter, fire and food. You can go without food for months and months. So as long as you've got a good supply of water. So food's the last thing you have to worry about. Within 70 hours to 100 hours you're dead without any sort of hydration. After 24 to 36 hours you're getting shocking headaches, and you're really starting to dehydrate, where you're just going into downhill, you know, just dying. So that's a good way to make some water if you're stuck. And yeah, well, I hope you liked it, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one. See you later, mate. Yo.